Okay, hello there, I'm Dennis. Welcome to my channel. And in this video, I'm going to use Alpine Linux to SSH over into another machine. And we're going to install, we're going to install Arch Linux using the Archinstall SSH from my Alpine machine. So I've already done all the fun stuff. I downloaded Arch Linux ISO right here. I use torrent, so I clicked on that and downloaded it, and then double clicked it, finished the download for Arch Linux. So I'm going to use the SSH, and I got some links and some notes that I'll include what you're going to need to get started here. So let me just close this out since I don't really need it. And if I run Inchy on this machine, you'll see that this is the Optiplex 7010. And let's see, got my TD script here. Friday, June the 13th of 2025. This is September, so I'm over 3 months now into Alpine Linux. And this is the Optiplex 7010. We can close that out. And I've already done the fun stuff. Like I said, I downloaded the ISO, put it on the USB stick, booted up to it, used the IWCTL command in order to connect to the Wi-Fi. Once that was done, I set up a root password, and I found out the IP address, and I SSH'd into that. That would be SSH, and I went to the root, and then whatever your address is. And this is a Precision T3500. If I run a LSBLK, we should see SDA right here is a 325 gig hard drive. So let me clear that, and we'll go ahead and run Arch install. So make this a little bigger. And let's see. Yep, a lot bigger. Bigger than I needed. All right, first thing, it's going to ask for your language. You press enter right here, and you'll get a lot of options to select your language. Locale, it's already selected US keyboard, English, and encoding of UTF-8. Mirrors and repositories, I click on that. We're going to select regions. And if Arch Linux is not being hit by the... Yeah, I don't like that. Let's try that again. See if it'll... Should give me a bunch of countries. Nope, that's all I'm gonna get. Local. Okay. Optional repositories though. This should be multi-lib and testing. I'm gonna select multi-lib. And I'm gonna go back. Now we got local mirrors and multi-lib enabled. Disk configuration. Partitioning. I'm going to use the best effort default partition layout. I'm going to select, oops. Yeah, that's right. For some reason it's showing up twice there. I'm going to select the 300 gig hard drive. We're going to use ext4, and I don't want a separate partition for home. So this is what it's going to give us. It's going to give us a 1 gigabyte boot partition, and the remainder go into root folder. Okay, swap. It's going to use ZRAM. It's already enabled. Host name. Bootloader, we're going to use Grub as the default. Host name. We're just going to call it T3500. All right. Authentication. Root password. Now this is overriding the password we've already used. User account. We're going to add a user, Dennis. Going to give Dennis a password and confirm it. And we're going to say yes, we want to be a super user. Confirm and exit. We're going to go back here. UTF, that's a two-step authentication. Universal second factor authentication. Go back here. All right, we got a user and a password, profile, type. We'll choose a desktop. And you can see you got a lot of options here. And I'm going to go ahead and do one I normally don't do, which is the Gnome Desktop. It says it's going to come in with Gnome tweaks. We'll find out. All right, graphics driver, that looks good. Media, Intel, yep, that's what we got. Setting, that's going to use GDM. We'll go back. All right, applications, we're going to enable Bluetooth. And for audio, we're going to use Pipewire. I found out that if you using Gnome or installing Gnome and you select Pulse Audio here, there'll be a conflict and you will not be able to, you'll have to do some configuring, deleting Pulse Audio. So it's better just to select Pipewire. All right, we go back. Kernels. Now you can select any kernel you want to. Since that's an old machine, I am going to use the Linux LTS kernel, long-term support. All right, kernel is good. Network configuration. Now I'm going to use the network manager. It's necessary to configure internet graphically in GNOME and KDE. And since I'm going for GNOME, that's what I'm going to select. All right. Additional packages. Now, this is a great feature, but it does have a problem, and I'll show it to you if it'll load. Here we go. If I go page down, nothing happens. If I go up, it go down to the bottom. But as far as that goes, the rest of it, you'll have to go through that manually. So I'm going to get out of there. I know what packages I do want. Time zone, we're going to select US Central. Automatic NTP, that's good. All right, we should be ready to install. Yep, I would like to do it. The first thing it's going to do is format the drives. Now, while this is going to take a few minutes because it's got to install the base or partition and put a file system on the partitions, and then it's got to load the base system, and then it's going to go for the Gnome Desktop. So this will take a few minutes depending on your machine and your internet. Now, this machine has got 12 core processor, 12 threads, so it shows up as 24, and it's got 24 gigs of RAM. So the system itself is not really slow, but the internet will be, especially using SSH. So while that's running, here is my notes. Here's the main link that you'll want to use or look at, the wiki from the Alpine Linux for setting up a SSH server. Here's all the instructions it gives you from the AI overview. And I'll probably just go with the links instead of copying all this stuff over. In fact, I think I'm going to go ahead and just pause the video at this point because this will take a few minutes. So I'll be back. So I'm going to go ahead and come in right here. I wanted to point this out for the Linux firmware packages. You can see here the 7, 8, 9, 10 of them that it's going to go ahead and install for us. And why we're getting NVIDIA, I don't know. All right. Pause. So I'll point out right here as well, we're still getting the Linux firmware package. Okay, so we're getting down to the final. We're installing all the Gnome Desktop and such. Total of 398 megs. I've got 20 of it, so it's got a little way to go. But it's started. This should be the last thing that it does. Okay, so it got through, and it's going to ask us, do we want to just exit Archinstall? Do we want to reboot the system? Or do we want to cheroot into the installation for some post-installation configurations? And that's what I'm going to do. Let me clear this. First thing I'm going to do is say pacman-syy. Notice we have multi-lib. And I'm going to add a U to that. See if there's any actual upgrades. Shouldn't be, but I have seen it. Nothing to do. So pacman-S, and I'm going to say needed Inchy screen fetch Foco screen OBS-studio H-top, which I'm pretty sure I saw that come in. And I'm pretty sure I saw this come in as well. Let's find out. So we got Inchy, Screen Fetch, Foco Screen, OBS Studio, H-top, GUVC View, Audacity, and Gnome tweaks. Now we'll do it. Default on FFmpeg. This is going to be 67 meg download. Now, I am installing Gnome, and I'm pretty sure they've went to Wayland, although they still have some X software available, and it does work. But the last time I tried with Wayland, I couldn't get Foco screen. I had a hard time getting OBS Studio, a bunch of that stuff, and it just kept me from even trying to run Wayland. But I've been doing this Archinstall since it's first come out, you know, periodically looking at it and seeing the changes, and it has done a magnificent amount of improvements. This is by far the best I've seen the Archinstall script run. And we're going to see once I disconnect, I'm going to just power off, unplug the USB drive, and I'm going to plug in a webcam and a microphone into the T3500 and then turn it on and just see if that stuff works like it should. Integrity, installing all that. Okay. Let me see something here. I just want to make sure. This. Yep, that's what it was. I forgot to put the S there, so it wasn't showing I needed. So that's all that was. So let me exit out of here. It's going to sync the systems. Okay. At this point, I've exited the cheroot. I can power off. And that other system is going down. So let me get out of here and stop this video. Actually, let me go to screen one. Now that did the Archinstall. That's the first time I've done an Archinstall on camera that I shared, and they have came a long, long way. This is actually an excellent Archinstaller. We'll see when I get to the other end. For now, this is the end of part one. We'll see what happens. Okay, so I'm back on the T3500 BIOS only boot machine, the workstation, and I installed, you saw me SSH into this machine and install Arch Linux using the Archinstall software script. And then I chose the Gnome Desktop. One of the holdups I've been having is it's using Wayland. If I bring up a terminal and we run an Inchy right here, we'll see Okay, the host is Arch Linux with the Gnome Desktop. The machine is Precision T3500. Under graphics for display, we're using only Wayland. It says it has Xorg here with X Wayland, and that's probably true. But if I bring up the screen that I used to see all the time, and you may be familiar with, is this GDM screen, where you have a sprocket down here, and you can click on it and select whether or not you want to run X11 or GNOME. Wayland, and that is gone. That is no longer there. We're using Pipewire right here. So let's see. Can't remember if I installed Screen Fetch or Fast Fetch. Screen Fetch. Arch Linux. AMD ATI GPU. Intel Celeron with 24 gigs of RAM. See what we're running here. 1.5 megabytes of RAM, or 1.5 gigabytes, I'm sorry, of RAM that it's using. Now, I will confess, when I installed this and I booted into it, I realized right away that OBS Studio was going to have to require some settings that I wasn't absolutely familiar with because I'm used to using Xorg. This was strictly Wayland. So it took me a little while to get some stuff set up, and there's still some I'm gonna call wanky stuff. And for instance, if you're familiar with software called Voco Screen, it's similar to OBS, not near as powerful, but if I bring up Voco Screen, it will not see my webcam. You do have the option of GUVC view for a webcam viewer, or cheese. Both of those will come up and both of them work, but they both have peculiarities. For instance, GUVC view, you cannot manipulate the screen size where you're not seeing a huge black border around whatever the image is. And so just little stuff that doesn't work. And I guess what I'm saying is I've been trying to work with Wayland, trying to figure out what works with Wayland and what doesn't work with Wayland. Whereas I should have just immediately did this video because that's what it was about, using the Archinstaller script to install Arch Linux. And I just happened to select the Gnome Desktop, and I wanted to see what all come in with it and if it worked and everything. And I gotta say, now, I'm not a gamer, so I'm not sure you're going to need some extra codecs or something, which brings me to this. This is their GNOME store, and I cannot, or GNOME software, I cannot get this thing to work. The only thing it's going to show is Flatpaks. Let's see, play. It's slow. It might not even load. There we go. Let's just select one here. You see it didn't quite finish. The only thing it offers is Flatpaks. And, I don't have a problem with Flatpaks, but I'm sure that that's not supposed to be the case. You should be able to have that option of choosing whether or not you want a native package or a Flatpak. I did install GNOME Package Kit, and it works just like it's supposed to. Let's see. Let's look up. I think that's how you spell it. Nope. Warpin Ator. Try that. Waiting in queue. Okay, so what's happening here? GNOME Desktop. It is loading, and it does work. I'm not sure why that was. Let's see. Package sources, newest versions. Let's try this. Let's go to Tux. And there's your games right there. So all you do is highlight it. If you decide that's what you want, click on install, and you're done. And that's not a Flatpak. That is a native package to the Arch repositories. Close out of that. So yeah, I apologize for taking so long doing this. I kept wanting to get Wayland to run the way I wanted it to run. I wanted everything to work and I got in, I got involved in doing that kind of stuff where I should have just been worrying about the Archinstall. Let's see if I run a df-th LSBAK. I've used 21 gigs so far, and I don't have all my programs installed. Flatpak is installed by default, so you can install Flatpaks right off the bat if you want to. But you can see I got Krita, Kdenlive. I guess that's it. Krita and I'll write the game. And the rest of that's just stuff that it needs to run those Flatpaks. So I guess that's going to wrap it up. Going back to the Archinstall script, this thing is leaps and bounds ahead of where it was just 6 months ago. Especially back I'm thinking it's been around for like 4 years now. And when I first tried it, I failed multiple times during the same instance of trying to get it installed. Later on, I tried again. I got an installation, but there was a lot of hiccups to it. It has came a long way. If you don't mind using the terminal user interface to install a system along with the desktop, you don't even have to install the desktop. You can install just your base packages, boot up, and then install exactly what you need. You don't have to select the desktop like I did. So I guess that's going to do it for this video. Peace out. I sure appreciate you watching.